How much?
How much you gotta spend?
Frank, this is more than a month's salary.
Out here, it is all about our hustle.
You really have to take us to the station.
We're everywhere. We have been everywhere for a really long time.
Welcome back to The Oldest Profession. We are here with Jacq the Stripper, who is, in addition to being an old pro, also an incredible stand-up comic and published author. Welcome to The Oldest Profession.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Today we're talking about Gypsy Rose Lee, and you have a personal connection to this bitch.
I do. When I wrote The Beaver Show, my memoir, my grandma, I didn't want my grandma to find out, but I kickstarted my book as self-publishers do. And my mom sent it to my grandma being like, look what Jackie's doing. Don't ever call me Jackie. And my grandma was like, that's so great. And she emailed me saying how excited she was for me. And she was like, I always imagined being a performer too. Imagine if we did a double act, like a then and now. She's like, imagine if people could see an octogenarian stripper. And I was like, this is amazing, Grandma. I'm so happy you're so excited about this. And I sent her my book because she seemed really down. And she read it and she did not like it. She wrote me a very long, very well-constructed letter saying how disgusting and depraved I was and how disrespectful and disappointing I am and how I'm disgusting and perverse and how I hate men and women. I was like, you didn't read, did you? And then she was like, I thought you were a classy stripper like Gypsy Rose Lee. Have you heard of her? And I was like, have I heard of her? Anyway, Gypsy Rose Lee was just as trashy as each and every one of us who are sex working today. And I'm so proud of her glam and her trash, and I just thought it was really funny that it's just funny what people think is classy, and classy just means you're looking at it from far away.
Yeah, I think that's a really that's a really good point. I mean, Ava Gardner she's from North Carolina, and she was this big glam person, but she was supposedly one of these classy bitches who definitely sold pussy. And there's this one anecdote of some dude coming up thinking that she's this classy woman, early Hollywood, who's like, oh my God, I love you. I think you're a goddess on earth. I just want to worship. Please let me just take you out on one date. And she finishes her whiskey and is like, do you eat pussy or not?
Oh my God.
1940. She's
amazing.
Yeah, but Gypsy Rose Lee was her memoir. You've got your memoir, The Beaver Show, which is really great. Recommend it. Super funny. As is Gypsy Rose Lee's memoir, Gypsy. It's hilarious. She's got some fantastic lines. She's a comic, so she innovates the craft of stripping when she moves from being a vaudeville performer from a multi-generational vaudeville family into burlesque, which is a new art form at the time, and is taking elements of stand-up comedy and becomes this sort of cultural figure in her day. But let's start back at the beginning. So Gypsy Rose Lee comes from many generations of mouthy women. Her grandmother sold fancy hats and was on the road a lot as a traveling saleswoman. And you know who buys fancy hats? Old pros. So, and then you were mentioning, things about her mother, Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
her mom had Gypsy when coming out of a convent. So she was in a convent. She was probably just slutting it up, having the time of her life,
right?
And
Gets
knocked up.
Lady is I'm not going to make you like me. You'll go to a convent. And it's you can't pray out this gene.
No, you can't. I also come from a lineage of righteous sluts. Yes. They would never call themselves sex workers, but my grandma was a model, and my grandfather was a football player for the Canadian Football League. And they were super hot, and they gave birth to 4 extremely hot children who were kind of like the virgin suicides, in the suburbs, but hot and stoned and all dressed in they were Greek gods, or were Greek and English. So they all had these tanned muscly bods just running around like it was nothing. My mom has that kind of hot girl entitlement, but she just pretends she doesn't know. She's like, what? And it's like, that's why I am what I am today. Because I'm just like, wait, what? Isn't everybody this nice to you too? Like, it's like you can't teach that. It is just bred into you, and it is what you do with it. That is the test of character. And anyway, Gypsy Rose Lee's mother was a total like boss. Also, we need to talk about how Gypsy Rose Lee's mom, Rose, is basically Kris Jenner.
Yes.
Okay. I was watching, like, she is straight up, like, because the Kardashians are the highest paid sex workers in America.
Yeah, that's absolutely
right.
True.
Like, so the watching.
Yeah, we replaced the temples of Ishtar with celebrity culture, and this is what we get.
Totally. Well, yeah. I mean, she got famous for a sex tape that put her on the map. That's sex work,
like a fertility goddess incarnate,
right? And she has like pimp Mama Kris, just like doing all of the work.
Yes.
And like I would buy her a drink or 10 because she needs a lot, and I like that. Like, she's my favorite Kardashian, the mom.
Well, there's actually a lot of through lines here with the
Totally.
Kardashians. Like, Gypsy Rose Lee gets her jewelry stolen when she's famous, and it becomes like a little bit of a newspaper moment, and they just keep upping the cost of, like, you know, $1,000 of jewelry left. No, it was $10,000. No, it was $100,000 jewels. And so Gypsy Rose Lee has this great line in her memoir where she says, "I got so used to the publicity around how much my jewels had been worth that when I finally got the insurance check, I felt gypped because I forgot how much they actually were worth."
Oh my God. Yeah.
Which is like a thing that happened to Kim Kardashian, where like she gets, you know, robbed, and it becomes this big time is a flat circle. Yeah, but you're right. Her mother. So her mother was married 3 times in her life, and then after the divorce with her father, she supports the family by essentially pimping out her youngest daughter as the June, 2.5 years old. She's billed. Well, this is when vaudeville was still a dying but viable art form. Becomes the tiniest 2-stepper. She becomes like a pimp, or like the Kris Kardashian, like what you were saying before.
A stage mom. Just
a
a
complete
full-blown
stage
mom. And I grew up as a childhood dancer, competitive dancer. So I grew up around stage moms. My mom refused, though. My mom waited in the car because she didn't want to talk to the stage moms. But I grew up around stage moms, so I know the intensity. I know a mom peeking under the crack of the door into the dance studio and then yelling at her daughter afterwards because she didn't get the steps right.
That's
and like the children performing with like no emotion in their face because they just do it for their mothers
because
and
they blacked out. Yeah, they
disassociated. They don't care. They're like I'm 7. I'm 7. Like, I really don't care about like nailing this Mickey Mouse routine. I want to play in the dirt.
I wonder, like, how does that happen? Like, I'm worried. Like, if I quit comedy and just become like a quinoa mom and like the cool part of Brooklyn is like, does that dragon live in me?
You would start a mommy blog about how funny your child is, and you'd pimp your child out.
Probably.
For sure.
I think pimping lives in me for sure.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if you have unfulfilled dreams as a star, you're going to be a shitty mother.
You heard it here first, kids. Write me your emails in 10 years. I'll keep you updated on the way. I'm hoping to traumatize my children in like unique. I just don't want to be like a hack, monster. You know what I mean? Like, I want to figure out new ways to traumatize my unborn.
You want to pimp them in the way they want to be pimped. You have to be like this. Do you like the violin or tennis? And you let them choose violin or tennis, and then you pimp them in that direction.
That's actually really good parenting advice. It's like, don't fight your instinct, but shape it to serve a higher good.
Yeah.
So Gypsy Rose Lee's younger sister that had been the breadwinner of the family with her teeny tiny toddler toes elopes predictably at a very young age.
13.
At like 13, married some dancer that her mother,
who was in the show with her.
Yeah.
And he was like 18 or 19.
After her younger sister elopes, Gypsy is not able to carry the show with her singing and dancing skills. Although if you watch the movie, you'll believe it's just because she was a brunette that was the only reason that she couldn't carry it. I mean, that blondes have more
Totally.
fun.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
It's expensive, but it's worth it.
After her sister leaves, she is at a burlesque hall, and the headliner of the show bopped the owner of the club in the head with an inkwell, like you do. And so the owner of the club was in the hospital and the headliner was in jail, and the theater is like, what do we do? And this is the moment where Gypsy raises her hand and says, I can do it. Her mother pulls her aside and gives her the advice of like, don't actually take your clothes off. What you want to do is you want to tease them, you want to make them beg for it, and then you don't want to give it to them, which I think is the art of the striptease. She goes up there and fucking crushes it, showing just a shoulder, and thus begins her stripping career. So
is that the story? Is that how she told the story in the book?
Yeah.
Because when they adapted it for movies, it was she had so much less agency.
Yeah.
In the movie, like Natalie Wood was just sad applying eyeliner with this deadpan face,
while her mom
being like, well, her mom is literally forcing her out the door in this dress. And then like when she sees herself, she's like, oh my God, I'm pretty. And she goes out drunk on how beautiful she is. I'm like, yes, girl, like get it. Like you are beautiful. Cause it's like, it's true. When you look hot and you check like a fresh blowout and like nice makeup, just like if that changes your whole self-perception,
powerful.
Go out and get a blowout if you need to feel on for something. It is the best $50 you will spend. But it's funny because like the way you just told me that story was like she raised her hand. She volunteered herself to do it. In the film, they were like this whole poor girl who was just thrust around. Like Natalie Wood's character, Gypsy Rose Lee in the movie. I just watched it yesterday. That's why it's so fresh in my mind because I wanted to be like ready for this. Plus it's amazing. The costumes.
It's very pretty. It's a very pretty movie.
It's so beautiful, but she had so little agency. She was always just like the underdog. And like Gypsy Rose Lee was never the underdog. She was never that humble or that passive. She knew what was going on. Like definitely she always needed her mother's love, and her mother was always like telling her shit, I'm sure.
Narcissists can't love. That's not for us. Yeah.
But I think she like the movie really made it kind of this like save and hope narrative of like,
well, the whole film paints like marriage as this like savior and like makes her stage mother's ambition look like the problem. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like
woman's ambition
is
problematic.
Yes, and it's ultimately a corrupting influence that will lead you down this dark path to whoring and
and beautiful costumes,
gorgeous, Technicolor, amazing.
Yes.
So it's interesting to me of like I think that's the movie that had to get made. I think that if we were redoing this film today with like a female director or like something radical, I think it would be a very, very different movie. And I also don't think it would be a musical.
No, well, I would want to see this movie today where it ended.
Yes, I'd like
in
to
the
see
movie.
It start.
Like it needs to start there. I thought, like I was just waiting for like the child star to get out of the way, the John Bonet, like Dainty June, let me entertain you, and I'm like. It's fun, but it was just I was like, where is Natalie Wood? Get her out of this page boy outfit. Yeah. Like, come on. Like, give me the feathers, the pearls, the diamonds, the chain smoking. Like, that is what I want to see. Like, so I would like to see the movie picked up there. Because you didn't even, like, there was nothing about her wit. And that's why she was so legendary on stage, was because of her presence and the way that she used her voice and her body. Like, that's what put her head and shoulders above everyone else. And the obsession over like this woman being kind of bullied into this career really negates how talented she was.
So she gets into burlesque, and her sister goes from being a vaudeville performer to the more lucrative profession of competitive endurance dancing. Competitive dancing is it's like a gladiatorial version of dance, where the only people that get paid are the last ones physically standing. So it's like a multi-day event where they don't allow people to eat, sleep, drink, use the bathroom. And then people come and watch this sporting event, art show, I don't even know what to call it, but...
And it's couples, it's partner dancing?
Yep. Yeah. So you have to like hold each other up while you're fainting or falling or defecating or sweating out or dying of dehydration or like whatever. It's an endurance thing. Could you imagine? Like that's...
I don't want to. It sounds awful.
Dips in the economy do really weird things to so vaudeville becomes this weird, it feels like a scary monster version of the rest of the entertainment industry, which is also an endurance thing and also deeply exploitative and all of this stuff. But to be so blatant about it, of 95% of you are just going to work really, really, really hard and hurt yourself a lot for no money, and then 2 of you get $100.
That's like American Idol.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's still happening.
So that's what happens to her younger sister. Gypsy herself finds the parachute of vaudeville, which I think has saved a lot of people from the much more exploitative world of other work options, and ends up innovating the craft. Her first show, she just shows a shoulder, and at this point, burlesque is more of a I don't. Well, you're probably more familiar with the history of stripping than I am, but it's more. They call it herky jerky, or I can make tassels do this, or I can. Whereas she slows it way down and creates more of a tease rather than
I think she slowed it down and made it more sensual, and it used to be more gimmicky. The whole you got to have a gimmick. It was super cheesy and reckless, and kind of the stripper that I would be and still am, because actually I was a burlesquer, and that's how it's not how I started stripping, but I did burlesque when I was in college because I missed dancing, and I joined a burlesque troupe because I wanted to dance. So the troupe that I auditioned for was a bunch of women who were probably 15 years my senior, all these Quebecois ladies who were doing a burlesque show, and we learned the choreography to an African priestess sacrifice. All of us were white. It was definitely problematic. And that's how I got into burlesque. So I just started to do my own act because, why not? And, one of the best burlesquers in the city was you need to, rein it in. And I was I don't know how to do that.
Well,
I have no idea how to do that. I just want to take all my clothes off and say, ta-da, and then smile really big, and you're gonna love me anyway, so why does it have to be slow and classy?
Right.
You're gonna have a great time, because I am I'm the happiest shit show. You're gonna be so happy you came. It's not I'm not slow and controlled. It's not my gift. This is not why you're throwing money at me. It's why you're throwing money at somebody else. I'm the opposite of Dita Von Teese, you know? So
it's you just walk out naked and you're ta-da,
ta-da,
yeah.
This is it. Aren't you happy you're here? And yes, they are, and it's great for everyone. But I really failed as a burlesquer. I was the costumes were so much work, and I really admire how much work people put into it, because I just like to show up and get naked.
Yeah, no, it can be an art form, and it can also be. I mean, I don't know. Looking at this woman's history and reading her, this is just a woman with no fucks to give, right? So it's her rejection of the big lie that exposing your body somehow reduces your worth as a human being, and her rejection of this idea that showing parts of herself is something to be avoided, and cashes out because nobody else was having the balls to do it. So I feel sex work represents this pocket of the economy of if you're willing to walk away from this big lie, there are things waiting for you on the other side of this. And it's it can look like kitsch, it can look like class, it can look like storytelling, it can look like posing. I mean, it can look a lot of different ways, but it's all past this basic social rejection of women who are willing to expose more of themselves than they quote unquote should.
Mm-hmm. Well, she was a hustler, because what I love, I mean, in the movie, the monologue, when she's I don't have any talent, and she just goes on and capitalizes on the fact that she has no talent, which is such a talent, and it's just you're amazing, because she's I laugh first, and I've always felt that way too, about comedy, about stripping, about everything. You have to be the one to laugh first, otherwise you will be laughed at. And that's exactly what she was doing, and I just really related to that. And her capitalizing on her alleged talentlessness was just deeply resonant for a lot of us, because it's people are stripping, you don't need any talent to be a stripper. It's no, but you need confidence. And if you don't have any of that, you won't make $1.
I found full service escort work to be like every time I've walked into a strip club, I've been overwhelmed with the deep knowledge that I couldn't do that. I can't do it athletically. Like I can't lift myself up. I wouldn't know where to obviously that looks hard. It's physically hard. The acrobat, I can't do it. I also have no rhythm. I can't dance. I've been told that by professionals when I used to want to do musical theater as a child. And more importantly, the hustle. Because like as a full service escort, whenever somebody walked through my door, I already knew like sale is over. Like I get to just focus on pretending to be this dude's girlfriend.
Right.
Whereas like the hard face-to-face hustle of a strip club, I think is something that doesn't live in me.
It's like speed dating.
Yeah.
You just walk into somebody's life and you have to wow them in 30 seconds. Otherwise, you have to move on. It's very fast. That's what I love about it.
Did you find parallels with that and like the entertainment industry? Like now as you're marketing yourself as like an author and like and as also as a stand-up comic. I mean,
it's everything influences each other. Stripping
Yeah.
has taught me everything has armed me with every skill to succeed in all of the fields that I'm pursuing. You know, because like, I mean, this is like my mom told me this. Like every time I ever tried anything as a child, was like, just wing it. Just wing it. Like it's the only tattoo I would ever get. Would say, just wing it. That's how I approach absolutely everything in my life. That's why every comic I draw is scratchy and every watercolor is splotchy and I don't care. I just do it. And that's what you have to do with stripping. You can't overthink it because time is money. Mm-hmm. And if you know time is money, other people's time is also money. So whenever you're trying to get somebody's attention or do something, you have to be memorable or get the fuck out and start over with someone else.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be the first or the best, just the most memorable.
That is something I think that's definitely true of stripping. It's certainly true of entertainment. And I learned it canvassing, working for progressive political organizations. It's like the no's don't matter. Only the yeses matter. And your job is to maximize the yes because you're not going to so standing on the street and I'm like, hey, do you have a minute for the ACLU? Like that sort of work. It's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people are walking past you, giving you a no. And the second you start to dwell on that, everything else dries up. But like the yes that stands in front of you, taking them from $5 a month to $50 a month is the skill. It's not, you're never going to get the no's. Like the skill is letting stripper. Them pass. All right.
I always tell when I see a hot canvasser, I'm like, you're in the wrong business. Like, yo. I actually, because when I was living in Sydney where I became a stripper, this canvasser for, I don't know, some company. He was like a canvasser pimp. Mm-hmm. He would go to bars and find hot, because you notice you've never met an unattractive canvasser. And he was like, yeah, we would just find kids who were hot and who needed money, and they were getting paid $25 an hour to just stand on the street and talk to people. I'm like, you should try sex work. Yeah. You should probably try it.
You're being underpaid.
Yeah.
Overworked.
Yeah. I actually saw a girl on the street who fainted trying to get signatures.
Yep.
And she just literally fainted. And I was like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. And I remember, I put her in a car and sent her home. I was like, here, just take an Uber. She was like, oh my God, thank you. I was like, you need to, you are worth so much more than whatever they're paying you to stand out in the sun and pass out alone, talking to strangers, mostly getting harassed.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I don't bark. Barking for shows. They were like, barking is part of the gig. I'm like, says some fucking white dude who's all like not facing harassment on the street like me. I did it one time and some guy grabbed my ass. I was like, I'm never doing this again.
Right.
I'm never doing this again. This is humiliating.
It's humiliating and it's demoralizing, and anyone who tells you that there's only one way to do something is lying to you. I mean, they might be lying to themselves
just because it serves them.
Right. Yeah, it either serves them or it's something that they had to believe in order to do the shitty thing. I think that's you see a lot of that.
That's why Gypsy Rose Lee reinvented the wheel.
Yeah.
She's like, this wheel has feathers on it.
So she becomes a superstar overnight. She walks away from vaudeville into burlesque, innovates the craft, and then has an affair with Elizabeth Taylor's third husband, Todd something. I forget his last name, and it doesn't matter.
Didn't she have 8 husbands, Elizabeth Taylor?
Elizabeth Taylor had 8 husbands.
Amazing.
This was the third, and supposedly actually her greatest love, that they had sort of like a Kim Kardashian, like Conway West marriage, and like he was a big larger than life personality and she was a larger than life personality, and they like got along, but he died in a plane crash.
But Kim and Kanye aren't really in love. They're just like business partners.
Well, Elizabeth Taylor and Todd
yeah,
made each other better than
see.
they were. Like they
that's a good marriage.
But anyway, she has an affair with this guy. He's a movie producer, right? He's a Hollywood mogul, and she starts breaking into films. Now she has 3 husbands, just like her mother before her, and they all ended in divorce. I think that there's something like people talk about divorce as being this like failure of womanhood, but if you look back at like what was expected of wives during this time, and you see it in the movie Gypsy, of like getting married means this like savior thing of this like great taming, because it's like the social stickiness around being a wife was meant to be this like containing energy of like your radical feminism, whatever. So like I think that she was just too independent for marriage at the time, that there were no pure marriages, that it was meant like she wasn't going to find somebody who was just like do whatever you want, because the what's it called, the social narrative of what it meant to be a wife was too containing, I think, for this woman and her mother before her.
I felt like in the movie that was like, marriage is when you're ready to give up on your cute hobby.
Yes!
I'm over here waiting for you.
Yeah.
It's like, what is your fallback? Is like some doting man who's standing in the wings waiting for you, which is remarkable that he waited around as long as he did. You know, I'm talking about Rose's husband in the film. But yeah, that's still a thing now. I mean, less so now, but yeah, just to like go and play around, like really trivializing women's ambition.
Yes.
You know, and it's just like, ugh. Like even my mom doesn't realize she does it, but she's always like, well, what's your fallback, honey? What are you going to do? Like, what's your secure job? It's like, I'm like, it's obviously selling drugs, Mom. Yeah. You know, I'm going to work for Pfizer.
They'll hire you in a heartbeat.
They would. Yeah. I actually almost got hired. That was my fallback plan that I was going to, that I was very seriously indulging when I was trying to figure out how I could stay in the United States, and because I'm Canadian, and I was gonna sell not pharmaceuticals, I was gonna sell medical equipment, and I was like going through all of the process, and I wrote on my CV for hobbies and interests, I wrote girl power amongst other things, and the guy was like, you might want to take girl power off your CV, and I was like, I don't want this job.
Yep.
I don't want this job.
Yep.
I don't want it. No, thank you. And I just like kept going. But you can't have a fallback plan if you're going to succeed. If you want to really, you have to like, you know, have different, I'm going to use so many mixed metaphors, but you have to have different eggs in different baskets, but you have to absolutely put all your chips in your dream. Like you can't like, you know.
I find myself like very seriously considering becoming like a mouthy house pet. You know what I mean? Like that's, you know, like me and my partner are moving in together, and like navigating my dreams. I've never been able to figure out how to navigate my dreams with a partner, which means I've been single for most of my life, but it feels like a different calculus of like, he's just not willing to sleep on floors for $. Like, and you know, his narrative is that he has self-respect, and my narrative is he doesn't want it enough. So it's like, I don't know.
What does he do?
He works in tech. He's been treated like an adult with dignity the whole time. He's
And he's like a white guy?
Yeah, he's just a smart white dude that like went to college
convenient.
and shit worked out for him.
Wow,
so he's like,
that's so weird.
Right. Yeah. It's yeah.
That's great. That's great. That's stabilizing for you. So you can go off and pursue. My wife is like a very successful professional boss lady. I'm very proud of her. And there can only be one narcissist in the family who wants to be in show business. So we're doing all right.
Yeah, we learned that with the Gypsy Rose Lee family. So she breaks into movies. She becomes an activist in labor rights during the Great Depression, which is super cool. Becomes like a leftie commie, which is fun, but also a super successful capitalist. And her mom actually, you know, you got to give your mom something to do in her old age as a stage mom, because otherwise she won't get out of your shit. So she gives her mom a boarding house to run. And her mom, Rose, and she shoots someone during this process.
Wait, what? I don't know about this.
You don't know about
Wait,
this?
Rose?
Rose, her mother.
Shoots a child?
No. Not for mouthing off or something. So different biographers, different historians have like different takes on this. Some historians think that Rose was having like a lesbian love affair with this woman and that she shot her in a jealous rage. Other historians say that that's not what happened. And then some historians are like, no, it was a suicide. Now, officially...
Wait, she shot and killed someone.
Shot and killed somebody.
Oh,
now it was investigated and it was marked down as a suicide, but some historians are like no, Rose shot this woman. We didn't dig too deeply into the story, but the Wikipedia page is like, nobody knows, but some people say she was shot and other people say it was a suicide.
I mean, I just think everyone's gay, so I like the gay story.
I mean, I definitely think that they could have had a lesbian love affair, but like not all lesbian love affairs end in murder. That's like not...
No, they just do when like men write the stories.
Yeah.
Well,
the investigators called it a suicide, and it wasn't. She wasn't arrested for it, but you know,
because she talked her way out of it. Because she's a hustler. Because she's Kris Jenner.
Yeah, because she's
what
3 generations of old pros.
Yeah,
exactly. So after Rose dies, Gypsy and her sister June both end up writing the story of their mother's life together. So Gypsy writes the memoir Gypsy, which of course casts her mother as this like controlling stage mom. So they waited until after she was dead to publish, which is one tactic for writers. But with people living longer these days, I think you just have to get over it.
Yeah.
And then her and her sister have a brief falling out because she doesn't like the way that she's portrayed. But she gets paid off and they reconcile, and then she writes her own memoir, so they figure it out. So I like that the sister
writes her own memoir. That's
does.
the only way you get your justice is to tell the story yourself.
Gypsy Rose Lee, badass bitch, old pro from history, somebody that carved out her own life in dangerous, shifting times, which I think is something a lot of old pros are going through today. So if you're looking for inspiration, pick up a copy of Gypsy, which is available on the internet. You can also pick up a copy of Jacq the Str's memoir, The Beaver Show, and I know that you have other work as well.
Yeah, I do have a couple books. The Beaver Show, which is my memoir. We have Striptastic, which is an illustrated celebration of dope-ass cunts who like money. And then I have some zines. And then I have a new web series that's on Instagram that pops up every now and again called Sluts and Slippers Getting Snacks. So tune in if you like sluts and slippers or snacks.
Of course, you can follow the show at Old Pro Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me at Kaytlin Bailey. Please support our Patreon page. Like we said, dark times are coming and we might need to mount a legal defense. So we're trying out a new segment. We get, the thing that keeps me getting out of bed and makes me feel like I'm not, shouting into an empty cave is our incredible listener emails. Every week we get really, really great stories. And so I want to share one of those, and we're going to start doing that weekly. So please keep emailing me your personal stories. They're incredible. They're awe-inspiring for me and hopefully for some of our listeners. This one is from a fan of mine that I love talking to this guy. Stay at home Todd is a good dude, and he writes to me today. So I found out at the age of 12 that my mom was a stripper. I found out in an embarrassing way. She lived in Nashville at the time, and I was living in Florida with my grandparents. I went to visit and became friends with some neighborhood kids over the summer. We were all walking through the neighborhood when one of the kids mentioned his mom working at a strip club. I was shocked. Born and raised in a conservative Baptist home by my grandparents and still saw the world as ideal in most ways. I asked the kid how he felt about his mom being a stripper, and all the boys started howling with laughter. The kid said, "Dude, your mom is a stripper too. Our moms stripped together." I was astounded, hurt, and embarrassed by this acknowledgement. It was not a good way to find that out. I want more acceptance of sex work so that others never have to feel shame because their parent is doing whatever it takes to support a family. Hope you are well. Well, wow, Todd. I love that you're acknowledging that your mom was doing everything that she could. My partner was raised in a conservative Baptist family. I know that, and I was raised in the South. I certainly know that a huge part of their religious belief is that the most dangerous force on the universe is female sexuality. I'm not sure how we got there from what Jesus said, but, you know, I know that there seems to be a unanimous agreement on that. And good on your mom for going out there and making it happen. And I know she's certainly not the first sex worker in history to, you know, send her kid to be raised by a loving adult while she figures her shit out. And I'm super thrilled to hear that you guys are close now. You just listened to the episode. I think that Jacq the Stripper is out there, you know, fighting stigma and rewriting the narrative on what it means to be an old pro. So if your mom ever felt ashamed of what she did, I hope that she's let go of that now, because I think that anyone that gets up on the stage and brings joy to people's life for a living should be proud of what they do. And I'm thrilled to hear that you're proud of your mom, and we're going to be here as long as we can, fighting stigma, talking about old pros, and going out there under this big red umbrella. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you for your story. Email us your stories at theoldestprofessionpodcast@gmail.com. The emails will be fully anonymous. You know, we're happy to tell me what parts of your story you want on the podcast, and you know, we absolutely respect everyone's privacy here. And if you want to send something just to me, I'm not that kind of cunt. You know, I'm not gonna throw your shit out there. I'm happy to be on the receiving end. If we get lots of emails from people who feel like they can't tell their story anywhere else. I spent years in that headspace myself, and actually Maggie McNeil from The Honest Courtesan was a lifeline for me when I was getting out of an abusive relationship, and I thought I was mentally ill, and I thought I was damaged and unlovable, and that, like, you know, I was never going to recover from the stigma of sex work. And Maggie McNeil's blog saved my life, and actually ended up coming out on. Thank you so much for listening. This has been The Oldest Profession. Wherever you're at in your journey, and if I'm the only person you can tell your story to, email me. Happy to hear it. If you want to use secured, encrypted email, you can also email us at theoldestprofessionpodcast@protonmail.com. That'll be encrypted both ways. I don't check it as often, so if you want to shoot me a DM or you know, shoot me a Gmail that's just like, check your Proton, bitch. I'm happy to do that. But please tell me your stories. Tell us how you found the podcast, and